I'm very happy about targets. Targets are extremely important in two contexts. In areas where people, we can presume, will be reluctant to comply. So environmental targets, the Kyoto Agreement, other kinds of reductions for environmental emissions are extremely important. Without targets, people are unlikely to voluntarily cut back on their polluting effects on the environment. When people are reluctant to comply, impose targets, absolutely essential. I question whether that is necessary in a profession of educators. It presumes that they're not interested in, or focused on, or concerned about improvement. The second thing, therefore, about targets is that whilst many countries, including this one, interpret targets to mean the governments impose targets of a short-term nature within one election term that will fit their re-electability, and then puts people in the nonsensical position of playing all kinds of games to meet the targets. Classically, before the last election, Tony Blair's engagement around health service issues, where doctors were required to fit a high percentage of their patients into meeting a target of getting their appointment within 48 hours. So if you booked an appointment a week ahead, you had to phone back in 5 days. People played monumentally silly tricks in order to meet the targets, and this is exactly what happens in many schools in the system. Focusing on 2 or 3% of kids who are just below the passing mark and trying to lift those up, which makes the results look better, but really makes almost no substantive difference at all to that particular group of students. And the ones who most need help get left behind and cast by the wayside. So instead of imposed targets, what we talk about in the book, my co-author Dean Fink and I, is shared targets. Shared targets developed by communities of educators with others around them that are ambitious but also realistic. And there are a number of examples of these. The best one is Alberta in Canada at the moment, where 90% of schools are involved in a major school improvement initiative agreed by the government with the unions based around shared targets with impressive, measurable results over the mid-term. When you fail to meet imposed targets, you experience fear that leads you into cynical manipulation of the results. And the collapse of Enron and all the others was an example of what happens to creative accountancy when it crosses over into corruption. Shared targets, when you fail to meet them, create feelings of disappointment and guilt that make you only want to try harder in order to meet the targets because they're your targets rather than someone else's.